Strange Tales from a Chinese Studio, Story 19.
The story opens with Yu Jiang's father sleeping out in the fields. And this was, a very common practice for farmers guarding their crops.
Just a normal night.
Right. But while he is sleeping, a wolf attacks and consumes him.
And the text gives us this one detail that, it completely changes the psychological weight of the whole event. The only thing left behind in that field is a single shoe.
A single shoe. Just consider what that does to a human brain.
It's haunting.
In psychology, we talk about this concept regarding ambiguous loss. When you don't have a body to bury or when you lack the finality of a funeral, the brain really struggles to process the trauma.
Because there's no closure.
Right. You are handed an empty shoe. The sheer lack of a physical conclusion leaves the cognitive mind just spinning. It creates an open loop of trauma.
And the text mentions that upon receiving this shoe, 16-year-old Yu Jiang feels a grief and a hatred so intense that he, quote, wants to die.
Which is a completely natural response to that level of shock.
Yeah, and if you were listening to this, put yourself in those shoes. Your instinct would be explosive.
You'd expect a highly impulsive reaction.
Exactly. A teenager, blinded by rage, grabbing a pitchfork, screaming into the woods, and, let's be honest, almost certainly getting himself killed.
Right, because that impulsive reaction is what the amygdala, the fear and emotion center of the brain, what it demands.
He wants to lash out.
It demands immediate discharge of that overwhelming energy.
Yeah.
But Yu Jiang does something that demonstrates an incredibly sophisticated level of, emotional compartmentalization.
He really does.
He suppresses that amygdala response entirely. He doesn't act out in front of his weeping mother.
No, he waits for her to fall asleep.
He waits.
So it becomes this covert operation. He waits for the house to go completely quiet. He takes an iron hammer, just a hammer.
Just a farm tool, yeah.
He sneaks out into the night, walks back to the exact spot in the field where his father was killed, and he simply lies down.
Let's just analyze the psychological weight of that action for a second. Returning to the literal site of the violence that is a profound choice.
It's like staring into the abyss.
He is deliberately weaponizing his own trauma. Instead of, avoiding the geographic location of his nightmare, he's using it to establish control.
Wow.
He is building a trap, and he knows the only bait the trap will accept is his own body.
And he hides the plan to protect his mother from worrying, taking the entire burden of this incredibly dangerous operation onto his own shoulders.
Yeah, the maturity is staggering.
A lot of modern stories would frame this kind of thing with, a training montage.
Oh, totally. Getting the gear ready.
Yeah, you gear up, you put on the tactical armor, maybe get a high-tech weapon. But Yu Jiang is a farm boy with an iron tool.
No superpowers.
None.
Yeah.
He brings nothing to this fight except the terrifying willingness to let the monsters believe they have won.
And, the theory of being bait is one thing. Walking into the field requires courage, sure. But the physiological reality of what happens when the predator actually arrives.
Yeah.
That requires a level of biological control that is almost superhuman.
Let's break down that first night, because the sensory details in the source material turn this into pure psychological horror.
It's a nightmare scenario.
So Yu Jiang is lying in the dark, pretending to be asleep, pretending to be utterly vulnerable, and eventually a wolf arrives.
But it doesn't attack right away.
No. The wolf doesn't just launch a blind attack. It patrols. It sniffs him.
The predator is assessing the threat level of its prey. It is looking for the slightest indication of a trap.
And the text describes the wolf's tail wagging and sweeping directly across Yu Jiang's forehead.
Unbelievable.
And the boy does not move. Then the wolf gradually lowers its heavy head and begins to lick the boy's thigh.
Try to conceptualize the biology of that moment.
I can't even.
You are 16.
Mm-hmm.
A man-eating apex predator, the exact species that just killed your father, is close enough that you can smell its breath. It is licking your leg. Your autonomic nervous system is flooding your bloodstream with cortisol and adrenaline.
Your heart must be beating out of your chest.
Exactly. Every evolutionary hardwiring in your spinal cord is screaming at you to either fight or flee.
I find myself flinching just thinking about it. Like if a mosquito buzzes near my ear, my hand reacts before I even consciously register it.
Right, the reflex is instantaneous.
So how does a teenager override millions of years of evolutionary survival instincts to just lie there?
He's enforcing an extreme version of the freeze response, and it's completely driven by his prefrontal cortex.
Okay, so it's a conscious choice.
Very conscious.
Yeah.
This isn't paralyzed fear, right? This is cold, calculated tactical restraint.
Wow.
Think about the physics of a biological attack. If Yu Jiang panics and swings that iron hammer while the wolf is merely sniffing or licking him, the wolf still has its balance.
Oh, I see.
Its center of gravity is stable. It has 4 paws on the ground, allowing it to dodge, retreat, or just instantly counterattack.
Right, because if the boy swings early and misses, the hammer is heavy, he is off balance, and he dies.
He dies. It's that simple.
It's like a coiled spring. The tension is building to a breaking point, but if you release the spring in the wrong direction, all that kinetic energy is just wasted.
That's a great analogy.
He has to wait for the exact moment the wolf fully commits to the kill.
The predator has to overcommit its center of mass. His grief has been forged into a patience that demands absolute perfection.
And that moment finally arrives. The text states that the wolf joyfully leaps straight forward, fully extending itself to bite Yu Jiang's neck.
It commits.
And in that specific fraction of a second, the boy strikes. He brings the iron hammer down directly onto the wolf's brain, killing it instantly.
The trap snaps shut. He utilized the wolf's own predatory confidence against it.
But then, and this is crazy, after he kills it, he drags the heavy carcass into the tall grass to hide it. Then, incredibly, he goes right back to his spot and lies down again.
He resets the trap.
A little while later, a second wolf shows up, and the entire agonizing process repeats.
Oh, man.
The sniffing, the waiting, the physiological torture, the leap, and the strike. He kills a second wolf. By midnight, the field is quiet.
And logically speaking, if we look at the immediate goal of vengeance, the mission appears to be accomplished.
You'd think so.
He eliminated 2 of the predators. The immediate threat to the area is gone.
Right, so you would assume the story ends there. He packs up his hammer and heads home. But a sudden intervention completely shifts the parameters of the narrative.
Yes, this part is fascinating.
Yu Jiang finally dozes off in the field around midnight, and he has a dream. His father appears to him.
A crucial turning point in the text.
In the dream, his father delivers a very specific message. He says, quote, "Killing these 2 vents my anger, but the one who actually killed me has a white nose. These are not the ones."
This introduces such a fascinating layer to how we interpret the story, particularly the psychology of the protagonist.
Well, I have to challenge the nature of this dream, right?
Go for it.
Is the author telling us a literal ghost story here? Or are we witnessing the boy's own subconscious refusing to accept incomplete closure?
That is the big question.
His brain knows the shoe is still empty. Vengeance against the concept of, quote, wolves isn't enough. Does his mind demand an absolute, perfectly balanced ledger?
You know, both interpretations are valid within the framework of strange tales from a Chinese studio.
Really?
Yeah, Pu Songling often blurred the lines between the supernatural and deep psychological truths. The dream functions as a mechanism to shift the boy's motivation.
Okay.
This is no longer a general lashing out born of grief. It becomes a highly targeted, highly specific hunt for justice.
A manhunt, basically. Or a wolf hunt.
Exactly. The white-nosed wolf becomes the physical manifestation of the unresolved trauma. Without that specific wolf, the debt remains unpaid.
So morning arrives, and Yu Jiang wakes up to an empty field and 2 massive dead wolves. He wants to drag them home to prove what he's done, but he stops himself.
He has to think about his mother.
Right. He realizes that if his mother wakes up to a courtyard full of blood and dead predators, the shock will devastate her. So he drags the carcasses to a dry well and throws them down to hide the evidence.
And the dry well serves as this brilliant metaphor for his emotional state.
Oh, how so?
Well, he is actively burying the violent reality of his nights to preserve a sense of peace during the day. He is living a profound double life.
Oh, I see that.
By daylight, he is a tender, thoughtful son, ensuring his mother's environment is safe and calm. But by night, he becomes a ruthless, endlessly patient hunter.
And he returns to the field the next night. He lies in the dark. Nothing comes.
Nothing at all.
He repeats this the following night. Still nothing. The text specifies that he does this for 3 or 4 consecutive nights.
Just waiting.
Just lying in the pitch black, waiting for a white nose that refuses to show up.
And the initial adrenaline of that first night is entirely gone by this point.
It has to be. He must be exhausted.
Exactly. Now he is operating purely on cold, agonizing endurance. It tests the limits of his resolve, because the true architect of his father's death is evidently far more cautious than the first 2 wolves.
Which brings us to the final night. The confrontation fundamentally changes in its nature.
It escalates.
Yeah. Up until this point, the wolves have been stealthy sniffing, testing the waters. But on this night, a new wolf attacks, and it changes the rules of engagement entirely.
It's like a video game boss battle.
Totally. Because it doesn't go for the throat. It bites down on Yu Jiang's foot and begins dragging him away.
The physical environment is now being weaponized against him.
Mm-hmm.
The trap he carefully constructed is moving.
Moving fast. And the text makes a point to emphasize the severe physical toll this takes. As the wolf drags him by the foot, the boy is being pulled through thorns that pierce his flesh. He is being dragged over sharp stones that scrape and tear away his skin.
Now, we talked earlier about overriding the autonomic nervous system during the freeze response.
Right, the sniffing and licking.
What Yu Jiang has to do here requires overriding the nociceptive reflex.
The what reflex?
Nociceptive. Nociceptors are the sensory receptors that detect signals from damaged tissue.
Oh, okay. Pain receptors.
Right. When you touch a hot stove, or when a thorn tears your skin, your spinal cord initiates a withdrawal reflex before the signal even reaches your conscious brain.
Because it's trying to protect you?
You pull away automatically to prevent further damage.
So he is consciously battling his own spinal cord.
Yes.
He has to let himself be shredded by the environment without breaking character.
He is forcing his prefrontal cortex to dominate his biology once again. Because he knows that if he thrashes, if he screams, or if he tries to pull his foot free, the wolf will realize he is alive.
And it will reposition?
It will let go of his foot, reset its stance, and kill him. He has to endure actual severe physical torture until the predator feels completely secure.
That is just next-level endurance.
It is like a structural load test, you know? He has to let himself bend to the absolute limit without snapping.
So he just takes the pain. He allows himself to be dragged until the wolf finally feels safe enough to stop. The wolf drops his foot and shifts its position, preparing to bite down on Yu Jiang's belly.
It lowers its guard.
And the second it does, the boy springs into action.
The tension of the coiled spring is finally released.
He brings the iron hammer down, smashing the wolf to the ground, and he doesn't just hit it once. The text describes him repeatedly hammering the beast, smashing it over and over until it is undeniably dead.
It is a massive, cathartic release of energy.
You can just imagine it.
All of the accumulated trauma, the empty nights of waiting, the physical agony of the thorns, it all channels into that hammer.
He finally stops. He catches his breath, leans down into the darkness, and inspects the body of the animal he just destroyed. And there it is. The wolf has a white nose.
The specific requirement of the ledger has been met. The ambiguous loss finally has a physical resolution.
Overjoyed, Yu Jiang hoists the wolf onto his back, carries it all the way home, and presents it. He finally tells his weeping mother the truth about where he's been every single night.
She must have been stunned.
I can't even imagine. And then she follows him, and together they pull the other two decomposing wolves out of the dry well. The secret is out. The operation is over.
And, you know, the narrative portion of the text concludes there, but Pusongling doesn't just leave the reader with a gripping action sequence.
No, he has some thoughts on it.
He appends a philosophical breakdown, questioning the underlying mechanics of how a peasant boy achieved this.
Yeah, the author, writing as the historian of the strange, adds a commentary where he essentially marvels at the entire event. He writes, quote, "Are there really such heroic figures among the peasant class?"
It's a very revealing question.
But I have to push back on the author's surprise here.
How so?
Well, why wouldn't a farmer be heroic? The author seems shocked that a commoner possesses this kind of grit. But peasants and farmers deal with the brutal, unforgiving realities of life, death, weather, and predators every single day.
That's a fair point.
Their entire existence is tied to survival. To me, that makes them uniquely suited for this kind of unglamorous, brutal endurance.
Your assessment of agricultural resilience is completely accurate. However, to understand the author's surprise, we really have to contextualize the elitist assumptions of 17th century Chinese society.
Okay, set the scene for us.
During that era, the prevailing cultural belief was that greatness, deep wisdom, and strategic genius, those were the exclusive domains of educated scholars, aristocrats, and military generals.
I see.
The lower classes were often viewed as unrefined and incapable of complex tactical thought.
So by spotlighting Yu Jiang, the author is actually subverting the class expectations of his own readers.
Exactly. He is actively challenging the social hierarchy. Pusongling concludes that the boy's terrifying fury and brilliant tactics didn't stem from ordinary bravery or formal military education.
What did it stem from, then?
It sprang from what the author terms pure sincerity and blood devotion.
Wow.
He's referring to filial piety, the absolute unconditional duty and love a child holds for a parent.
That makes a lot of sense.
The philosophical argument here is that this pure love acts as a raw, combustible fuel. It is so powerful that it can generate unbreakable courage and strategic genius in anyone, completely regardless of their social standing.